Welcome to the Back 9 Six-Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 60 of the Back 9 Six-Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. Thanks for not getting us canceled the last 2 weeks.
I felt like a band without a drummer.
That's, probably a good way to describe it, honestly.
A train without a conductor.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you back.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you did a pretty good job keeping all things on the rails, all things considered, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was a little low energy on last Monday, being out of town, and I'd played golf that day. Then we went out and did stuff. It was a long day, and I just felt like I was low energy, so I want to apologize for that.
Nah, it was good. Gave the people what they needed just to get them through another week.
Yeah. I guess.
Good to be back in the saddle here. I'm not going to lie. Honestly, I know we've only been doing this for a year and whatever, but this feels like a vintage episode. It's a hot night outside. We just played golf yesterday. We had a major yesterday, Father's Day yesterday. Feels like coming in here, it felt so right.
It does feel right. That's why when you're like, are we going to do this in person? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we're doing
let's
it in person.
Go.
This isn't a beer. It was a bit of a dinger of a weekend, but we got what is this? The squeeze to death, liquid death?
I finally tried one. Dude. Oh, they're so good.
The orange is
they're so good.
Clutch. So hey, look, if you're here, thank you for listening. Thank you for not leaving after I was gone for 2 weeks. And please, if you're not already, please subscribe, rate, and review the show. Follow us on social media at Back9Sixpack. I did listen to the episodes, just so you know, and I got to correct the record on a few things. And I just need to I need to let my voice be heard on a couple things.
I'm here for it.
Okay. Yeah. First and foremost, the wine outing, we did win. I played like shit for a while. We get to hole 15. That's where I stuffed the iron shot. You incorrectly said that I missed the putt. I made the eagle putt.
Oh, that's right. You did make the eagle putt. Okay. It was all blended in together.
Like a phoenix from the ashes, I rose for a 3-hole stretch. Honestly, it was not great, but that was a crowning moment for me.
Yeah, you did.
Event.
I forgot you did make that putt.
So that one, look, I got to own the Ryan thing. I talked a lot of shit. Did not. I thought I was going to back it up bigly.
I forgot I talked about that.
Yeah.
The first week you were gone.
So anybody that didn't listen or has missed this, we played a Memorial Day outing. Ryan was an A player. I was a B player. I was available on the board. He did not draft me. Like I said at the time, this is one of my closest, oldest friends. My feelings were a little hurt. I'm not going to lie. Granted, his team did beat mine 11 under to 9 under. We came out hot. We were 6 under through 7, and I was a big part of that. I was stuffing the pinata, and then I kind of disappeared like I do for 4 or 5 holes, and then got it back. But we didn't 6 under through 7, and we shot 9. We made 3 more birdies in 11 holes.
It's not bad.
But that was just bad at the end.
The beginning's not bad, but the end was...
The start we got off to, I was like, man, we're going to win this thing by a few shots. And look, one team shot 15. That's tough to beat. But
they had 2 hole outs and...
Yeah. We didn't have any such luck. And really just we could not make a putt. We didn't miss a green all day. Just couldn't make a putt down the stretch. So anyway, yes, I lost to Ryan. It is what it is. I own that. Last thing. Look, shout out to John for joining you for the Patio Beers. That was awesome. You guys... obviously have a great rapport being, longtime roommates and friends and all that. The pizza segment was absolutely fucking egregious.
How?
The toppings on pizzas, you guys talking shit about green peppers. Green peppers are like a staple.
No, they don't get soft.
No, this is fucking egregious. Horrible takes. Also, you were a child. You just found out about banana peppers last year. And you just learned that you like guacamole this year?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That is absurd. You were 34 years old.
I had fresh guacamole. When was it? I think it was Memorial Day weekend. We went down to a Mexican place with some neighbors, and they wheeled out this cart. And I was like, what's happening here? And he's like, we're getting, my neighbor Seth, shout out because he does listen to these episodes. He was like, we're getting fresh guacamole. I'm like, and they made it, and I was like, this kind of looks pretty good. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna try it, dude. I'm like, and then we went on vacation, ate Mexican twice down there, crushed some guacamole.
Well, shout out to Seth for introducing you to and all-time good food. I just couldn't believe when I heard both of those statements. I thought you were a long time on the banana pepper train.
No. Maybe a year and a half. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, it's not been long.
And, I can't believe you discovered guac at 34 years old. It's unbelievable.
I'll tell you what. I just tried Chipotle's for the first time. Not a big fan.
Chipotle is taking massive L's left and right.
Dude, I know we fire a lot of bullets at them, and I don't want this to be another one. But I will tell you, out of all the guac I've had over the last 3 weeks, it's probably near the bottom.
No, I'm in agreement with you. I'm ready to bury Chipotle. I would like to say we were out in front of this. Have you noticed all of the Friday Beers posts recently about shitting on Chipotle?
Yeah.
We were ahead of the game.
Early. We were early to the party.
Yeah. Look, I'll stand by all of our Chipotle takes.
And look, eventually everybody's going to be at that party because they're going to realize how crappy it is. But we were definitely the first one. One of the first ones there.
Yeah, we're ahead of our time for sure. All right, I'll let you off the hook with that. But I just had to get those on the record.
And you know, and I've done some research after the whole banana pepper thing. Like your taste buds and like your texture, like what you consider like appropriate texture and things, it can change every year.
True.
So I think I'm just maturing.
You need to give
mentally
pickles a try again.
No, I have done that, like a full pickle. That may never happen.
That's fair. All right, there's no easy transition here. The U.S. Open, just wow.
Yeah, it was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
We were kind of. Where do you want to start?
Okay.
Do we want to start with the course, or are we going to push that off to the end?
We'll hold that for a second. Actually, you know what? Let's start with the course. That's a fine place to start. Pinehurst, number 2. Our boy Donnie.
I think it's an awesome course. I don't want any criticism I'm going to give for the course to make it seem like I don't like the course. I think it's an appropriate U.S. Open setting. I think, what are they doing it now? Like, it's going to be like every 5 years it's going to be back there, like as an anchor site. I really don't have any problem with that. I think it actually is a great place to go watch a tournament. I've never been to a tournament there, but just from the looks of it, it has the room. It has massive amounts of stands because they have the room out there. Wasn't the Cradle like the driving range or something like that?
Yeah, it looks sick.
It did look sick. So I think like the setup itself, I think is a phenomenal anchor site to like, hey, once every 5 years, we're going to be back here. I mentioned this last week. I said, I don't know how because, 2014, they went from the rough to the native area. I don't think it held up very well that year as far as like, that wasn't the hard part of the golf course, which I don't think that is supposed to be the hard part of the golf course. But it did feel like guys, and they still do on this golf course, get away with some wild shots. And I don't think that's conducive of a U.S. Open venue. There's got to be something. And I'm not even talking like deep rough. Like, dude, there's like, I don't think there was an entire weekend or week. There was no out of bounds. Obviously, there's no water. They just got away with like super, super wild shots. And Augusta, whatever. Like, you can pound it off the tee anywhere and you end up some pine straw. Like, you don't get penalized. But like the U.S. Open's different. And I feel like that's the only portion of this venue that's missing.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. I think, to me, the test of Pinehurst is the greens, right? And like, you have to be precise where you land the ball to get it, even just to hold the green, honestly, not even just to get it close, but like to be on the green. It feels like the penalty is, if you're in the native area, you probably are going to struggle controlling your golf ball, right? And if you get double boned and you're like in the wiregrass, obviously that's itself a penalty. Only 8 guys were under par.
No, I think it's a great test.
Yeah.
It's just a little one of those things where it's like, I get like what the test is on this car, man, but I want to see a dude step up to a tee shot, clenching his butt. Like, this tee shot makes me feel uneasy, and I just don't think outside of like, I'm going to be in a native area, it doesn't really make you feel that way. So you saw some guys like look, they swing hard and they hit it straight most of the time, but like there was never that drive where I was like, man, I've got to find a way to hit my best drive of the day because this is here. Or this, it was just like, I'm just going to hit it up there. I don't want to be in the wiregrass and native area, but there's really like not an excessive penalty if I do miss one pretty wide. And that's my only thing. But I know that's not what that golf course is, right? Like, I get that, but that's the only thing I feel like is missing.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I mean, I think maybe it did ask those questions, but one, I don't think Bryson cared that much. Obviously, he had a different plan for the course with how far he hits it. And two, I think, you know, Rory and Bryson both would have preferred to not be on 18 to be in the left shit over there.
Yeah.
It cost Rory the tournament, and Bryson had to make a freaking up and down from, 60-yard bunker shot, which is like the worst shot in golf. So it just feels like he got away with it a lot more than everybody else, maybe. Yeah. But I think that was more about him than it was about like getting lucky.
Him being able, like, it felt like he was the best at really pinpointing and having control over his club and like nipping things perfectly out of those. Like he hit a couple wedges out of there, like the native areas during the week, and it was like short-sided, but he was just nipping them so perfectly. It was like taking one hop and stop.
Yeah, and honestly, he just made a lot of like big putts too.
He did.
Like he'd have 8 to 10 feet on those par savers.
And it would break like 4 feet, and he'd like somehow even find a way to curl it in. It was amazing. But I like Pinehurst as an anchor site. If there's something missing where what I felt was missing, there wasn't like a drive where it was like, hey, you got OB here and water this way. Like, and I know there's no water on that course, but it would be nice to maybe like, if we could squeeze some out of bounds, like just a little closer to the course, I wouldn't be too terribly upset about that.
Yeah, I get it. I think I'd rather just see him have to play it from the shit than like re-tee it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it is. You said it when we were texting back and forth. It's like it's more luck than anything, and it truly is. Like,
to me, that's more fun too. It's like let him go find the ball and then have to deal with whatever the consequences.
Yeah, that's true too.
Rather than just like, it's out of bounds, I got to re-tee.
I don't disagree with like that is fun.
Yeah, as a fan and watching, it's more.
Yeah,
fun.
But it's just kind of one of those things. I don't know, but I think all in all, it's a great anchor site. I mean, I think I really enjoy the greens. I mean, like if you've never played a Donald Ross, I mean, I would be surprised if there was anybody out here that has not played a Donald Ross. If you haven't, that's literally all of his courses. It's like runoffs everywhere, false fronts, and you even like the lesser known Donald Rosses, like you have to pinpoint approach shots, and they gets harder as the more firm it gets. Yeah, essentially.
Let us know. Come play our course.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So that's good on Pinehurst. Obviously, we already talked about it. Bryson won. Rory chokes. I will use the word. My question, though, like, what if you had to put a ratio of like Bryson winning versus Rory losing? What do you put that at?
I'm probably going to be I would guess I'm probably going to be in the minority with this answer. I would say it was probably 50-50. And here's why.
Right down the middle.
Because actually, I would even say it's like 60 Bryson winning it, 40%, Rory choking it away. Because I truly believe, even though if Rory makes both of those spots, he wins, Bryson played good enough to win.
Yeah,
he played, and it was a 2-horse race, right? Like, so it wasn't like you had all these guys, jockeying at the end. It was a 2-horse race. I think they were the two that played the best, and if either of them won it, I don't think anybody, and say Bryson choked it away, I think it would kind of be the same split for me, like Rory 60, Bryson 40 or whatever it might have been. But I think it's probably 60-40.
Yeah, I think if sitting on my couch last night, if I asked myself that question, I probably would have said like 90-10, Rory lost that. Like we'll get into that more, but I think you're right. I think it's like 55-45, 60-40, like clearly Bryson deserved to win. Anything that we talk about in this next, 20 minutes of the show, is not taking anything away from Bryson and not saying he didn't deserve to win.
Honestly, I would say I'm a bigger Bryson fan at this point than I am a Rory fan.
Oh, God. That's pain.
But I truly believe they were the only two that played the best to win.
Yeah.
So I think if it was the other way, it would be the same thing.
Sure.
You know, it wouldn't be like, it wasn't like Bryson was like 4 shots back and Rory just fumbled the ball down the stretch like really bad and ended up losing. It was like they were both right there, and it's like anything can happen at that point, right? Like, yes, he did choke, but Bryson also held it together and, you know, made pars when he needed to. So
yeah. I just look at it from look, Bryson, for anyone that was chasing, Bryson had the round you needed him to have. He shot 1 over.
Yeah.
Rory had a 2-shot lead with 5 holes to go and bogeyed 3 of his last 4.
I thought it was over at that point.
So did I.
I thought 2-shot lead, even if he, you know, I was thinking about 17 being like, man, even if he bogeys that, like he's still going to have a 1-shot lead going into 18. You know, I don't think Bryson's going to birdie 18 or 17. So it's like, even if he bogeys the long par 3, it's like he's going to have a 1-shot lead. And with Bryson coming into like 17 and 18. So, yeah, it was not good, though.
No, of course, there's always a Justin Ray stat for everything.
Yeah, I saw this one. Yeah.
So obviously on hole 16, Rory McIlroy misses, I think it was 16, right? Yeah, it was 16.
Yes.
Misses a 2-foot 6-inch putt. He was 496 for 496 putting inside of 3 feet on the whole season until that putt. Exhale.
Yeah, well, and I knew as soon as he missed that first one,
yeah,
when he got over the second one, I was like, we were sitting there, we had an iPad set up at our neighborhood pool, and I was like, there's no chance this goes in. Like, there's just, like, look, we've all been there, right? Like, we've all had those moments in a round where we've, like, missed one short one, and it's like, then all of a sudden the short ones just become, like, 10 footers.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's doubly bad because the second one was like 4 feet, and it was a downhill left to right slider on the last hole of the tournament for you to, like, likely force a playoff.
Yep.
Like, I mean, come on, man. That's just not what you want there.
No, but I knew it wasn't going in.
No,
there was no way.
Even I was trying to. We're like cooking dinner and all stuff in between. And I'm standing there watching it, and I'm seeing set up to the putt. I'm like, he is like, his feet and shoulders were aimed way left, and his putter head was not. No. I was like, it honestly looked like he like sliced or pushed the putt.
I think he sliced it a little bit.
Yeah, like I know it was breaking a lot, but it definitely looked like there was some right action for off the blade.
I tried to save so many things I saw, but like there was and I think it was a teaching pro did a diagram, and it's like, here's where his putter, like, you know, where he was set up at, which was probably right with how much that broke. And like, here's the path he should have taken with the putter head, and his putter head like was like his actual path, like actually like was like cut.
Yes.
And so I think he did slice it a little bit. Like he did slice the butt a little bit.
Yeah, and it could be a camera angle thing. I don't know. But it just, as soon as he set up to it, I was like, he's not making this. There's no, like, it just didn't look right.
No.
Ugh.
No. And you know, it was kind of bringing up kind of one of those things. So like I started doing, I was struggling with like left to right, like shorter putts early on in the season. And someone, I can't remember who said this to me. We were playing one day and they were like, you know, I almost feel like you're pulling it out, because that'll actually make your club head go down the line. A lot of times when you got that ball, and obviously it's going to be a little below your feet, your natural instinct is to probably like almost take it a little inside, thinking like, oh, well, and it seriously helped me. And I was sitting there thinking, and when I saw him hit it, I'm like, I can see that now. Like he kind of, what he probably thought was straight back, he took it a little inside and then just naturally probably cut it a little bit. And then it's going to break more because you're cutting it and it's breaking right.
Yeah.
So
I honestly, like, just, this was the most invested I was in a golf tournament, I swear to you, since the 2019 Masters watching Tiger come down the stretch.
Yeah, I was pretty invested at the end here.
Susie and I were sitting on the couch next to each other. Cole was playing in front of us or whatever. And I'm like, there were moments where like I'd get up like off the couch or like I would like hit her leg or whatever, you know, and stuff. And I was just like so locked in, especially, you know, Rory made so many big putts kind of like at that, 10 through 13 stretch there to take the lead and all that. And I was like, holy shit, it's all happening. And then it became holy shit.
Yeah, I just don't think in a while we've had a major like felt like that. And then like you had like, and it was two big guys going at it, right? Like two bigger names.
Yeah.
And then you had some other bigger names up at the top of the leaderboard. Like I know what we said is like it was kind of a 2-horse race there at the end, but like Finau up there, like, it was just a great. Yeah, I was completely invested. And I know I shot some Rory hate out in our group chat and all that, but I genuinely felt bad for him because we've all kind of been there on a golf course where it's like, holy crap, I like just melted down. Obviously, his was on a bigger stage. But I was super happy for Bryson, too, because I was like, he's changed. And it's cool to see him have some success after kind of figuring out like how to be kind of famous. I don't think he ever, when he first became a professional golfer, I don't think he knew how to be famous. And I think he's kind of figured it out now. Yeah, and it's cool to see.
Pause on Bryson for just a second. Yep. So obviously, Rory kind of notably kind of just ducked out of there, hopped in the courtesy car and headed out.
Not a great look.
Didn't speak with media. Obviously, they had the camera on him when he was watching Bryson finish, and you like the most despondent you could probably ever see a professional golfer was the way he looked. Well, he tweeted today. I don't know if you saw his.
I did not.
Okay, he tweeted a note. Yesterday was a tough day, probably the toughest I've had in my nearly 17 years as a professional golfer. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate Bryson. He's a worthy champion and exactly what professional golf needs right now. I think we can all agree on that. As I reflect on my week, I'll rue a few things over the course of the tournament, mostly the 2 missed putts on 16 and 18 on the final day. But as I always try to do, I'll look at the positives of the week that far outweigh the negatives. As I said at the start of the tournament, I feel closer to winning my next major championship than I ever have. The one word that I would describe my career as is resilient. I've shown my resilience over and over again the last 17 years, and I will again. I'm going to take a few weeks away from the game to process everything and build myself back up for my defense of the Genesis Scottish Open and the Open at Royal Troon. See you in Scotland.
Okay.
Withdrew from the Travelers.
I was wondering. I saw him on the player list, and I was like, that's surprising. But that was like early this morning when they released it, probably before his tweet.
Yeah. So I was texting with Nick a little bit, and, obviously people dogging him for not talking to the media. Like, I was like, do I understand why he didn't? Absolutely. Should he have probably talked to the media? Yes. Do I really care? No. That's kind of where I net out.
I guess I don't really care. I think the one thing I do maybe care a little bit about is, like, you go out to the green. Like, you leave the scoring area. You go out to the green, find Bryson. Hey, great job, guy.
Yeah.
Like, then you book it. Like,
sure.
If you don't want to do media, fine. You got to go find them. That's the look that it's like, especially because Bryson at Valhalla went up,
Yeah. Lots of pictures
Xander
circulating about that, yep.
Yeah. That's the only thing I really had a problem with. You don't want to do media, dude. Don't do media. I don't blame you. I would be beyond, I'd probably have exploded. And everybody's like, well, Phil at Wingfoot. I'm like, they're two different guys. Phil is built to do that, and it's just not him. And I don't care if you don't want to do media, but he could have at least gone out and like found Bryson or even walked. He was just in the scoring area. Bryson's going to work his way to the scoring area. Just wait in that room.
Yeah, have a private moment there, and then,
hey, man, congratulations. Then book it. Because he was like at the airport. He was probably almost in the air from his airplane before Bryson like even got his trophy.
Yeah.
So like he had time to wait for like 10 minutes, find him in the scoring area and congratulate him. That's maybe the only thing I have a problem with. But the rest of it, like, dude, I'd want out of there as quick as possible too. I have no problem with not doing media.
Yeah. Before we move on to Bryson real quick, final notes on Rory. One, thank God we wait a day to do these shows because I would have been worthless last night. It would not have been a good time for me to do a podcast.
No, I had so much going through my head that like I took. It was nice today to like kind of sit back and think about what happened and come up with coherent
Yeah.
answers. Because like I would tell you, last night I'd have just been all over the place.
Yeah.
Trying to explain my feelings. It
would have been bad. I just wanted to melt into the couch. Like, I just couldn't believe what I'd seen. Anyway, second thing, many people asking this question: will Rory ever win? If not this one, will he ever win another major?
Man, this feels like a larger mental hurdle than he had before. Because we talked about it, I think, during the Masters. Like, he's just got this gigantic mental hurdle he's got to get over. And it feels like he kind of like got over that one. And now the next hurdle is like 3 feet taller. You know what I mean? If he's running track and he hurdled the one and he got there and he was like, oh shit, the hurdle's taller than me. Like, it's going to take a lot. But it also could be like, okay, anything that happens in a major from here on out is not going to be nearly as bad as what just happened.
Yeah.
And that could free you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the worst of worst things happened. And it doesn't get much worse than that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the commentary and stuff I heard and saw was kind of like, after the collapse at the Masters in 2011, he came back and won the U.S. Open right away, right?
Yeah.
Obviously different. It's almost two different people at this point. That was before he'd ever won a major. Yeah. Now he's got this 10 years of scar tissue, plus now the freshest of fresh wounds here. Man, it wouldn't shock me if he came out and won Troon. Like, he's obviously playing really freaking good golf.
Yeah.
And he's among this generation of players. Like, I know there are guys that have won more and more recently. But, like, if you just look at major leaderboards for the last 15 years,
he's on a lot of them.
His name is inside that top 10 a lot, and a lot more consistently than some of these people, too. Yeah. So, wouldn't shock me. I think he's going to get at least one more. But this one, man,
it would not shock me.
Freaking hurt.
It would not shock me if he went and won the Open.
No.
Wouldn't shock me.
I think he could contend at the Open until he's 50.
Yeah, he really could.
He'll take care of his body. We've seen, I mean, look, no, this can be like sound like it's shots at people, but like Tom Watson almost won when he's 56.
Yeah.
Darren Clark was like 48 when he won. Like,
yeah,
it definitely can happen for a while for him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
Okay, on to Bryson. So you were kind of talking a little bit about how you think you like him more than Rory now, how he's a changed man. Let's get it on the record where we kind of net out on Bryson as we are sitting here today.
At first, I started to like him at Valhalla. Kind of in the Masters, and then Valhalla was like, God, dude, I kind of like this guy. I kind of like him. And now I'm like, and I kind of hated myself for liking him, like, back in May. Now I'm like, I don't even hate myself. I would hate myself if I didn't like him. His over-enthusiasm can come off as disingenuous. God, dude, I can't talk today.
Disingenuous, you got it.
I've been out in the sun way too much today with PGA Junior League, but that's what it comes off. Like, his over-enthusiasm comes off that way. But I think it's genuine.
Yeah, I think the problem, sorry to cut you off, I wanted him to be more self-aware before, but now I think he's too self-aware.
He's way too self-aware now.
The way he's like playing up to the cameras and stuff. Did you see the whole thing on Saturday where he's like pulling an iron, but then he's like going back to the bag and he like faked the driver with the crowd and then puts it back? Like, all that, like, he knows where the cameras are now.
Oh, he had a moment.
Yeah.
I think when he's eating something on a tee and then he just like looks at the camera and it's like,
yeah, that's what I mean, dude. He's breaking the fourth wall all over the place. It's like, I don't know. Is he much more tolerable? Absolutely. Like, he was insufferable previously.
He was.
So there's definitely something that's changed and something that's made him more likable, like, undoubtedly. Because I don't find that same just like, I used to be like, he came on the screen, you were like, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you're like, God dang it.
I just don't even want to see him.
Like, we got to deal with this guy right now? Yeah.
It's exciting what he's doing. I don't know if his clubs are legal or not. Somehow they are, but I can't wait until like 5 years from now. They've been like ruled illegal, and it's like this. They're going to take his thing like everybody's
putting asterisks on.
Yeah, they're going to start coming for his trophies. But yeah, I don't know. There's definitely something that has been missing from golf that he brings for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's probably just like, it's like your dumb friend where you're just like, man, we probably don't need to bring him on this trip, Is it going to be way more fun if he is? Oh, of course it is. But like, shit might happen, right? Like that's really what it is with him. Like you don't know what's going to happen. You just know it's going to be funny, or it's going to be kind of like this guy is just an idiot, kind of thing. Like, because some of the stuff he does, I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But it's making me laugh. But I'll tell you, he's a lot more human than a lot of these other guys. He comes off way more human than Colin Morikawa. He comes off way more human than, Xander Schauffele. He just is. Like, I think we know enough about Scheffler now that Scheffler feels very human, even though he's kind of been a machine this year. But like, he feels more human than Rory. I don't know. That's kind of where I land on him now. It's where it's like I like him because he's just a little more real.
Yeah, I think there's a difference. I think like Scotty's a very genuine person. I think Rory's a very genuine person. I still feel like with Bryson, it's like there's some element to it that's an act. I don't know.
I really don't think it is.
Man.
It's not. It really
if
isn't.
You watch like his interviews and stuff, like he does give thoughtful and like pretty honest answers or whatever, but there's like dramatic pauses. Like it feels very like...
Dude, I'm telling you, he's just that guy that like his over enthusiasm comes off as just fake. And at the beginning, I thought that's what it was. Like over, he's almost been a pro now for 10 years. I thought in the beginning, I'm like, this guy's so fake. He's playing it up. At this point, I'm like, I don't think he is. I think it's genuine. That's just who he is. And he's just being himself. I think he's just a quirky scientist that happens to play professional golf. And that's how a lot of those guys are.
I think he's just gained some PR skills, is what it is. Like, I really do.
I don't know.
I think he just knows how to present himself in a more approachable way than before.
Maybe. We got a lot of I love your content comments this week, too. I mean,
thank you for what you do online stuff.
The guy is he's a content machine. He really is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw, I think I sent it to you guys. But after he won, Johnson Wagner's down in that.
Oh, dude. Johnson Wagner is an electric factory.
He's down in that bunker recreating a shot.
Yes, I saw it, yeah.
And Bryson comes up. The dude is here for the content. And I love that.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's undoubtedly fun and much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I still feel like, I don't know, man.
The Epsom salt. He puts his balls in Epsom salt.
That's there's just... I mean, I respect it. If that's a thing, and he
doesn't trust the manufacturing process.
No, so much so that he literally made his own clubs. And yeah, he was talking about how like he doesn't putt like the way he marks his ball is like so that he can directly hit his putt on a dimple instead of like creating side spin by hitting the side of a dimple or something. Just the guy is a maniac, truly a lunatic.
I truly think he's a scientist, and that's just how most of them are. It's just like we all know engineers and accountants, like their brains work differently. So do scientists, and that's what he is. Like,
I do appreciate, look, he's grinding obviously these are things that he thinks is important and helps him play his best. And he just won a major, his second major. So like, I can't argue with him.
I like when he was like talking about the Epsom salt. He was like, well, I used to do it myself. Now my manager does it for me.
See, I'm telling you, he's just, every once in a while you're going to catch him slip a little bit back, He's still kind of a dick. He just knows he's a little more polished these days. That's all. At the end of the day, Bryson is a net positive for golf. Right? And especially in this particular moment.
100%.
Because it's been very, very juiceless for several years now, it feels like.
For a couple. Yeah, at least a couple.
Which brings me to my next question. We talked a little bit about this momentarily, but I was just kind of thinking like I said, I was way more invested in this major and enjoyed this major probably as much as any since the 2019 Masters. So I was just kind of thinking back, like I separated out to post-COVID majors, right?
Yep.
So 2021 to today, and I have a full list of them so I can remind you of the ones that have happened. But like just off the cuff, where would this one rank for you? Do you think?
I think it's one.
I want to put it 1, 2. I think
I was thinking about the Cam Smith Open. I thought that one was really good. It had some drama down, Cam Smith hits that putt around the bunker.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick. But I think this beat it. This definitely beat it.
I think this is where with majors venues really matter because like that was the old course you're talking about. This is Pinehurst. But I went back through and I just listed all these out, which by the way, we've had some absolute, I didn't realize how good of a run we are in terms of major champions, non-Brian Harmon and Wyndham Clark division. But
I was going to say, do not throw Brian Harmon in there without throwing Wyndham Clark in there.
I think there's only two that outside of the one that you mentioned and then this year, I think there's two in this group that I would argue maybe could be there. So in 2021, we get Hideki at the Masters, good tournament, rain-soaked, good winner, not that exciting. PGA Championship that year was Phil at Kiowa. Phil versus Brooks.
Electric.
I'm pretty sure that was the site of the Brooksy Bryson like walks behind him. You know, it was that.
Rolls his eyes.
Yeah, that moment happened there. That was a fantastic major. So I think that's one of the ones that I think competes there. The U.S. Open that year was Rahm at Torrey Pines. Not that great, but like it was a fun finish. That back nine, Bryson was in it, Rory was in it, Louis was in it, Rahm, like it was, and Rahm had the two putts obviously to win. Like it was pretty good finish.
Yeah, it was good.
The Open that year was Morikawa at Royal St. George's. We were playing the Stampede that week, so we didn't really get to watch, but that was a kind of a duel with Spieth, which good tournament, but again, I don't think lives up to this one. 2022, Scotty gets his first Masters. Pretty boring tournament. He ran away with that one.
Ran away with it.
This one, PGA Championship, JT wins at Southern Hills in a playoff over Will
that was
Zalatoris.
pretty good. Yeah.
You had Mito Pereira with the lost ball and you had a meltdown, a playoff, an epic comeback.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
And I thought Southern Hills really held up as a course, so that was a good one for me. U.S. Open that year was Matt Fitzpatrick at the Country Club at Brookline. Really good finish.
Yeah. Him and Willie Z.
Yep. The Open, that was the Cam Smith over Rory and Victor year. 2023, we get Rahm and a rain-soaked Masters. These Masters have been kind of meh recently, to be honest with you. PGA Championship, Brooks at Oak Hill. Most notably, the block party. Probably it's kind of stole the show here.
It honestly stole the show more than I think the actual tournament did.
Yeah. But Brooks gets his fifth there.
Wins by 2, I believe.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like he had it under control the whole time.
Right. U.S. Open, Wyndham Clark at LACC.
Yeah.
This one could have been an absolute banger because you had Rory and Rick there.
But the last hole, man.
Dude.
And we talked about it when the tournament happened. The last hole had a fairway that was like quadruple the size of most U.S. Open fairways. And it's like there's no juice to this ending.
Well, and the crowds, obviously, famously, not good.
No stands behind 18. Like it was just, it could have been, but it wasn't.
Yeah, then we get the Open, Brian Harmon at Royal Liverpool. Hoylake kind of ran away with it in the rain, just not really anything going on with that one. This year, obviously, Masters, Scotty wins. That one got exciting for a minute, but he was honestly pretty in control of that tournament. Then PGA Championship, we get Xander at Valhalla.
Yeah. I mean, nothing against Xander. It was cool to see him win his first major, but it was, other than that, it was kind of nah.
Yeah. And then we get obviously Bryson over Rory here at Pinehurst. I think this is my favorite one among that bunch. Yeah,
I think like I said, the Cam Smith at St. Andrews was pretty good. Totally blanked on the Mickelson. That's
Phil
up there.
at Kiowa, I think, is number 2.
Just the crowd, like it was, everything started opening back up. They had fans there. It was, Kiowa was like a cool setting just in general.
Yeah.
I heard it was rough getting to the tournament. It's just not great logistically, but the crowd was amazing on that last hole. He kind of hit his drive left and they were kind of around him. Then he hits it onto the green. And watching, you're like, oh, he's going to win and he's going to retake the record for like oldest major winner and stuff like that. So
yeah, what was he, 53, 50?
I think like 52 or 53.
Yeah. And he did it over the, kind of the major champion of this kind of group of guys. Just crazy. Yeah. And like I said, I really enjoyed the Southern Hills, JT's comeback in a playoff.
I kind of forgot about that one.
Yeah, anytime you get a collapse, a comeback, a playoff, like all those things.
Yeah, it was a big collapse.
I mean, this one, the only thing could have taken this next level, if we had gotten a playoff yesterday, oh.
God. That'd have been good.
Yeah.
And they changed the U.S. Open playoff format.
Yeah, I think it's 2 holes aggregate or 3 holes.
I think it's 3-hole aggregate. Yeah. It used to be 18, obviously, which I was never a big fan of that. I kind of get it in the old days, like in the 20s and 30s. Understand why they did that. Now it just seems a little, for TV purposes, like a little mundane. So, but I would have loved to see a 3-hole playoff between those two guys. That
it would have been sick.
Pretty good.
Man. All right. Anything else on the U.S. Open?
No. Where are we at next year? Oak Hill.
No,
not Oak Hill. Oakmont.
Yes, that one.
Should be.
Which Nick and I were already kind of poking around. Some tickets, some drive times to Pennsylvania.
I don't hate it. I like the venue.
Oh, dude.
Oakmont's good.
Oakmont's real good.
They've cut down even more trees, I think. Since you can literally see the entire course now.
I love that personally, but
I don't hate it. I mean, that again, it's the trees aren't the hard part of that course.
No.
It's being in the right positions, super fast, slopey greens, old style country club. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm really pumped, just like the whole anchor site thing and like them kind of condensing. It seems like they're condensing the roto a little bit, dude. Like Pinehurst is electric, Oakmont's electric, Shinnecock, fantastic. Like,
yeah, I think even Bethpage is probably a good. I know they wouldn't go there just because they got the Ryder Cup going there.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't mind seeing its way back into the rotation after the Ryder Cup. I mean, I think, and everybody's like, well, it's either West Coast or East Coast. I'm like, I don't care. I want it at like the 7 best venues, and if 2 of those are there on the West Coast and like 4 of them are over there on the East Coast, like I don't care. I just want it to be on the best venues.
Yeah,
I think Shinnecock's one of those. I think Wingfoot's one of them. I think Oakmont's one of them. I think Pinehurst obviously is one of them. I'm not a big fan of Pebble Beach U.S. Open,
but it's still Pebble Beach.
It's still Pebble Beach. They can kind of juice it up a little bit if they get the right weather. This is the hottest take ever, and only because
do it.
I think
do it.
I think that if they go back now, I think it would be different.
Yes, say
Chambers
it. Yeah, let's go.
I want it back there. It was such a new course when they played there before. Like,
dude, I don't care.
And everybody's like, oh, like the grass, like it was built 4 years ago. I'm like, dude, it takes like 10 years for grass to mature. And I truly believe it would be different this time around.
Yeah, that place was so sick. I don't care what anybody says.
The views alone were just,
dude,
those were worth it. And
there's a train coming up there. Hey, like, come on, if there's infrastructure involved in your course, I'm so in.
And we hit, there was out of bounds on like 16, that par 4 that, and who was it? Some
Brandon
guy,
Grace.
Yeah, Brendan Grace.
Get lucky.
It was so far out of bounds. Dude, that thing was like 30 yards out of bounds. He's like, get lucky. It's like, bro, that's so far over that fence.
Yeah, you hit it over the train, bud.
But you're going to have to hit a whale over there, or something. But I wouldn't mind Chambers. I would prefer Chambers Bay over Torrey Pines.
Yes, correct take.
Yeah. If you had to throw a West Coast course in there.
Yeah. Dude, they're going to Riviera. It's going to be sick.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
That has the chance of being like a top notch.
Yeah, that could be an all timer for sure.
Because then you're going to be playing it in the summer, and it should be pretty dried out. That could be
real spicy.
That could be some serious carnage on that course.
Yeah,
it already plays tough when they play it in. What are they playing in, like February? And it's like dried out a little bit. Could be juicy.
Yeah.
It could be real juicy.
Man, yeah, it was really good. Just to, like, I mean, we just said we think it's our favorite major the last like 4 or 5 years. Like, to finally have like a major where I had like those sports feelings. Like, I only feel like that for like, NFL playoff games.
Yeah, typically, or something. Yeah, something super important.
Yeah. All right. Well, on to our golf. I know you talked a little bit about this the last 2 shows, kind of your Carolina escapades. You got anything you want to wrap up with?
Yeah.
Courses you played, how you played, any of that stuff.
So, yeah, I guess when I did last Monday's show, we played Caledonia, which was... Didn't care. I'm going to do some... I have course reviews that we're going to post on Instagram.
Nice.
I haven't done one of those in a while. I think I'll do it for both of the courses we played. But Caledonia was freaking awesome. And like we played it, the day we played it, they got like an inch and a half of rain the night before. So like I feel like we played it at its worst condition, and it was still freaking awesome. Like it was so good. And like those sand-based areas, dude, things just dry out so quickly. Like the greens were like still firm. And so it was so good. And anytime I think Nick said this on Sunday, he's like, what's Caledonia actually called? I was like, it's called Caledonia Country Club and Fish Club. And he goes, dude, anytime you get a second name in there for some other sport, he's like, it's going to be good. And it's a Mike Stratz who did Tobacco Road. I think he built it like right after he built Tobacco Road.
Yeah.
He's just phenomenal, man. Like every hole was different. Super. It's just amazing. You name a hole, like I can tell you exactly what it was. And that doesn't happen with a lot of courses. Sometimes they get a little blended in.
Yeah.
Then we played Pauly's Plantation. Awesome course. They just got done redoing the greens and bunkers. And you give those greens like 2 more years and they're going to, like, they were already pretty good. But they cut down like 900 trees. And it had to be done because there's still like thousands and thousands of trees on that course. But they did a lot for turf. And then they cut some down so you could have a view from the clubhouse. They had some dead trees there. He's like, look at this view. And like, I looked out the window of sitting at the bar and I'm like, that's a pretty good view. He was like right over the inlet. But some really cool holes. Front 9 was good. Not a ton of memorable holes, but like the back 9, you start getting towards the inlet. Like the holes 13, 14, 16, 17, 18 are all on the inlet. Pretty phenomenal golf holes. The 13 was one of the harder 160-yard par 3s I've ever played. We also had crazy amounts of wind the day we played it. It's kind of like an island green. It is. I shouldn't say kind of. It is an island green that comes out in the inlet. It was pretty phenomenal golf hole. But that was a really good golf course. That's a Jack Nicklaus design, which I'm crazy about Jack Nicklaus designs, but it was pretty good. But
nice.
I just never ventured down south. Usually stay in North Myrtle Beach or even further north than that. That's like an hour and 20 minute drive down to those courses we played. But this time we stayed south of Myrtle Beach and Surfside, so it was only like 20 minutes. And apparently there's like a couple other courses down there. Now I'm like, I want to get back down there and play those. So we had a good lineup of 2 courses for sure.
Yeah, the Carolinas are a big gap in my golf resume.
I've played Myrtle Beach area. I've played it. I mean, you name a course down there, I think I played everything other than the Dunes Club where they just played the PGA Tour event. But like start getting down like Murals Inlet and stuff. That's a big gap in my. But I don't think I've played a ton in North Carolina.
I think North Carolina's. Yeah, I said the Carolinas, but yeah, North Carolina.
Truly, man. North Carolina. Yeah. But there's some cool courses in South Carolina. You get those inlets, and it's just as good as being on the beach. Like running along the ocean. Yeah. So,
damn.
Yeah, it was a good time. We had 2 good courses. I drank way too many transfusions, especially the second round. I think I had like 4 double transfusions before making the turn.
Within the last like month and a half, I've discovered some really dangerous like drinks.
Transfusions are one of them. John Daly's are another one. We found that out yesterday.
Facts. I think what it is for me is the lack of carbonation.
Dude, it's whatever. That's what keeps you pumping.
It's drinkability minus the carbonation.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fill you up, and they're like easy to drink.
Yeah.
I mean,
my dad had never had a transfusion. I let him try one. He was like, "It's pretty good."
I hadn't had one until the PGA, and then we threw a few back, and then yesterday, between Saturday at my parents' house discovering the high noon teas, and Sunday discovering the Johnny, because I'm not a big iced tea guy, right? Like I'm really not. But I'm telling you, the original high noon teas, it might have been the best in the variety pack.
So good. They're so good.
Don't even need the flavor. And then Gunth got us turned on to these John Daly's yesterday. Layla's just dishing out the 3 for 4. Yeah,
the 3 for 4.
Buy 3, get 1 free. Like, come on now.
4 for the price of 3.
We were dead before we arrived.
And then I had to go sweat it out of the softball game after that. It was
that's bad.
Brutal.
Yeah. And
I'm out there testing my new putter after like 5 John Daly's. Started to putt like John Daly out there. It was brutal.
Well, that's a good segue into our Father's Day little Sunday game. Me, you, Nick, and Gunth.
Yeah. Your guys' first venture into a 666.
Well, I would say first venture into a 666 with automatic one downs.
Dude, it's electric. It keeps
Boogie.
Dude,
Yeah.
It keeps the blood pumping. Like, it truly does.
You're truly never safe in that game.
Ever.
Or never out of it. It's
and
like,
honestly,
really.
like I said, and and Gunth was just trying to wrap his head around how you guys were up 3-2-1-0 and somehow we could still win money if we won the last 2 holes. I'm like, Brian at our course, he's the one that introduced me to this. I started playing in their game. They play a 666 in their group. And that happened to me the first couple times. Like, we get off to first 3 holes, win the first 3 holes. The worst part about that is you get the bet started. So if you don't finish strong, you got the bet started so you could lose more money is essentially all you did.
Sure.
And it really does with the auto one downs and you got all those new matches going. And it's like, yeah, you've won the first 3 holes, but if you lose the last 3, you lose 20. If you play $5 matches.
Yeah.
I love it. We had the middle 6 holes stunk. I'm just gonna say what it is.
Yeah, that was a pillow fight.
That was the worst 6 hole stretch I've ever played in that, like a 666.
Nobody won a hole, right?
No one won a hole.
Yeah.
No bets out.
Which I mentioned at the time, kind of, if you look at it from a handicap perspective, it was me and Nick versus you and Gunth. It was very much like the best combination in terms of handicaps.
And I want to say, we didn't have holes with pars. Like, we have holes with birdies.
With the nets, yeah.
Yeah, with the nets, and we had a couple gross in there and stuff. It wasn't like we were, out there just parring a bunch of holes with each other. It was, we'd won. So it was a good match. It was just a boring match as far as no bets being out.
Yeah, I shot the worst possible 80 you could ever witness.
Dude, it looked like 95 and it somehow was an 80.
It was disgusting, truly. I texted you guys earlier just because I was rethinking about the round a little bit. When I was, the 12 holes I was with you and Nick, I hit 1 fairway, 4 greens, and I was 7 over. The 6 holes I was with Gunth, 3 fairways, 5 greens, and I was 1 over.
Yeah, you're a bastard for that, dude, by the way. When you made that putt on 7, I'm like, I think I said this. Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and you hit me with the flag stick.
Yeah, I was like, you fucking bang your first putt by 8 feet.
Yeah.
And you have a downhill slider coming back for par, net birdie to win the hole, and you squeeze it in. I'm like, this is so much bullshit right now.
Yeah, that really describes the round, honestly. It was the way that I putted, too, was it was both bad and good. I didn't have any 3 putts, but I put myself at some distance on 2 putts.
Yeah.
And I made a lot of
good comebackers.
Yeah, 5 to 7 or 8 footers. Yeah. It was not great. But yeah, I got to figure out how to get off. I don't think I hit a real approach shot for I don't know, at least 6 holes.
Yeah, you were in some tree trouble.
I was punching out the entire day. I've got to figure out a way to get off the tee.
It was not good.
Which I've been, this is the worst thing to do. But clearly I did a lot of work today. I was thinking a lot about golf. I think it's an alignment thing.
It might be.
I think thinking back to it, I think I'm setting up. This is the worst thing you can do without actually testing this theory. I'm just theorizing. I think I'm setting up open, and then if the face is shut, duck hook. The face is open, massive block. That's what I was doing yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we're gonna work a little bit on
subconsciously over adjusting.
Well, just if face and path are doing that, and you have an open stance, it's gonna be really hard for you to hit a straight shot.
Unless you do some serious mid-swing adjustments.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we're gonna focus in on making sure that the shoulders and everything's in alignment at address, and hopefully that helps rein in some of these because it was truly disgraceful off the tee yesterday.
It was not good
until I somehow strung it together at the end. You
did. You literally pulled it together. But I remember getting on. I think we were on 11, and I hadn't added up your score yet. And I was like, "What do you think you shot on the front?" You're like, "I don't know, 41, 42, something like that." I was like, "You shot 40." I couldn't believe it. I was like, "There's no way I'm adding this up right," because you were all over the place.
You told me I made 4 straight pars in it. I was like, "Oh,
yeah, yeah, okay. You did.
It's wild round."
Yeah, we were partners in the first 6 holes, right?
Yeah. And we won. But
yeah,
it was
we
like...
did. We won $10. I had that hole out on 2 from the bunker.
Yep.
It was electric the way to get this day started.
Yep.
And I remember I walked into the bunker. I was like, oh, I like this lie. It was like on an uphill slope.
Yep.
Kind of short-sided. I was like, this is, and I just hit it perfect.
Which was great. You took the pressure off of me because I pulled a Hitler on that hole. So.
You did. Yeah, in your defense, it was a nasty lie.
Yeah, sure. But disgraceful too in my bunker game. I don't know. I've told you guys yesterday, I'm like MacGruber in the bunkers right now.
Well, what's funny is I think Gun's bunker game passed down to you. He's a new man out of the bunker.
Yeah, it was
my guy is
incredible.
Now. He's probably a short step away from aiming at bunkers as misses. Like he's pretty good out of the bunkers now. It's truly incredible how far he's come.
I gotta get him 3 red and 3 white. I might just have him like bunt it off the tee, like just put it in the fairway
It's in his
short.
head.
And
Yeah.
because dude, if he misses left or right, he's just ping ponging.
Yeah,
I think he tripled both of those yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so we'll work on that. It's fine.
Yeah,
but a couple notes to mention. Immediately upon, we've been making a joke the whole time. Like Gunther and I were like, "Man, dude, we're gonna get railed in these last 6 holes because it's gonna be you and Nick."
Yeah,
you have a combined handicap of like 1
Yeah.
right now. In the very first hole, Nick takes a 10.
Dude gets on my team and proceeds to top 2 tee shots
after being money off the tee and hitting it really good all day.
I was calling him BMW all day.
Yeah, ultimate driving machine. I know.
And then he gets on my team and starts topping the ball.
Tops in the shit, tops it barely over the shit, sends it over into the trees.
Well, and the best part is we were down the hill, couldn't see where he was hitting from, and we just kept hearing trees getting hit.
Yeah, we just kept hearing the sound, and then we heard a club drop too.
It was
club
like,
was thrown.
what is going on back there?
No, the best part of this is, so on hole 9, I hit a provisional because I was not sure if I cleared the shit because I blocked one out to the right. Well, we found it. They picked up my ball in the fairway for me. After hole 4 on white, after this 10 happens, Nick rolls up to me and is like, "Oh, here's your ball." He played my ball on that hole. Brand new Pro V1X I'd hit one time, and it just beats a fucking shit. From trees and car path and everything else. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
God.
Yeah, so that was fun. But then, of course, he gets up on, the second to last hole, tops it off the tee with an iron. He's got he hit a knockdown driving iron into the green.
Into the wind from 190 to 10 feet.
Yeah, and then buries the putt. And this is after we tried to do the match math with Gunt, and we're like, how can we lose or whatever?
We won 17. And I remember driving up, you're like, he's going to fucking hit a 3-iron up onto this green and make birdie, or at least have a good look at it.
Yeah.
It's exactly what he did. And then he buries the putt.
I was like, that of a lot of scumbag stuff that happened yesterday, that might have been chief among them.
And then he makes it. I was like, that looked like 3 the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew my partner had me.
Unbelievable.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a great day. And then,
I had so much fun. So much fun.
We roll up to the patio. The John Daly's are 4 for 3. The U.S. Open, Mike Tirico just comes on the coverage to get the final group. It was a nice Sunday afternoon.
I'm out there with my new putter on the patio, just looking at it.
Yeah, that thing. I don't know if have you used it again since?
Yeah,
or messed with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It feels good. Feels
right.
real good.
For the record, what is this putter?
This is the Jailbird. They call it the Cruiser.
Okay.
So it's the big guy. 38-inch shaft, 17-inch grip. So what Ricky's been using, what Wyndham's using. Unfortunately, I sport it better than he does. Maybe not Ricky, but Wyndham for sure.
Sure.
Odyssey needs juice, and I will bring the juice. Unfortunately,
you know what?
Wyndham
Honestly,
cannot.
Welcome to the team. You guys give me shit
We'll
for not
see.
having a Scotty.
It's a really not a great time to be making a putter change, and I don't know if I'll put it in the bag. Maybe on Wednesday Night League this week,
Sure,
I'll maybe
yeah.
do it just because it's doesn't really matter. Because I have a tournament next week, so I'm making a putter change seems less than ideal right now.
Yeah.
Going into what I consider the biggest tournament in my mind for the summer.
Is this the Met?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you playing? I don't even know any of the details here.
So qualifying rounds are at Magatewa, which is also a Donald Ross, just redone last year. trying to get out there and play it since the redo. Maybe Thursday I can sneak out there.
Let Jerry get you out there.
I've been shut down by a handful of members, which makes me feel like I don't have juice. But I also think they might think I want like a free round, and I would definitely pay for my guest fee. That's definitely not what I'm going for. It's going to be easier for me to get out there at like a convenient time with a member. Because like you can get practice rounds, but like I guarantee when I call out there tomorrow, they're going to be like, yeah, you can come out on Saturday after 4 p.m. Right. You know what I mean? Or something stupid like that. And I'm obviously not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But like if I play with a member, like we can tee off at 9 a.m., on whenever. So, or I could even do Saturday at 8 a.m. with a member, but I won't be able to do, it's going to be some stupid time, I'm going to imagine. But it's at Magatewa. Qualifying rounds are Magatewa, Elks Run, which is Greg Norman course. They had one of the rounds of qualifying there last year. And then the match play is at Magatewa this year, which is, I feel like Mac sets up really good for my game. So I'm like, if I can make it, like I feel like I can play really good match play golf on that course.
Okay.
And the goal was like what we said is it's not just to make match play this year. The goal was to make match play and win a match. I feel like my game's there. I had some rough holes on Sunday, but I also shot 68 last week on vacation. Really I would say stress-free 68 because it felt easy. So I think it's like right there. It's just like this week, taking some time after work and going out and like practicing and like really getting a good feel for what I'm going to have, I think is the most important part.
Nice. What days are qualifying?
Monday, Tuesday, and then the match play starts Wednesday if you make it. So I'm looking forward to it. It's such a cool tournament. I think any tournament that requires stroke play and match play to win is always cool. Yeah. Not a lot of those anymore.
No. And I mean, look, at any kind of like Met, city Met tournaments, pretty sick in general. But yeah, I think you're right. The format is kind of what sets this one above some others.
Yeah, and so I've been a big advocate for Decade Golf and all this, and Scott Fawcett's the brainchild behind Decade Golf, and a lot of his stuff is like analytics, like, hey, you should be hitting this club off this tee because this is what the analytics tell you to do. But he did a video. He qualified for the U.S. Senior U.S. Senior Open.
Oh, sick.
And he's like, it's all about mindset when you're going into a tournament. And this is what he said. When I go out there and I'm playing in a tournament with a lot of younger guys, I'm not going to be able to out hit them. I'm going to be able to out chip them, putt them, and think them, right? He's like, when I go play in tournaments with people my age that are professional golfers and all this, he's like, I'm not going to be able to out chip them and putt them, but I am going to be able to out hit them and out think them. He's like, just finding your game and what you're going to be better at than with the people that are going to be playing in the tournament is key. So sure. I think like this is a bona fide, like our Met now it's a bona fide Division I golf tournament, like college golf tournament. There's guys from UC, Xavier, Wright State. We've got a lot of local kids that have gone out and they've gone to Alabama and this, so like they all play in it. And then like, I'm not going to out hit these guys, right? Like the kid I played in the match last year, he was hitting at 340. That's not going to be me, right? But I can outthink them, and I can, I feel like my putting at times I can definitely outputt people, and maybe that's like, but I think it's the outthinking them of like me not hitting driver might be the best sometimes because, I'm not hitting at 340, I'm hitting at 295, just thinking my way around the golf course better than it might be my advantage. Just because one, I'm like 12 years older than these guys. I had probably played in more tournaments than them, even though they're in college and stuff like that. So that's really what we're going into the week is like, how can I like essentially outthink the field and put myself in a position to succeed?
Yeah. I mean, there's something too, obviously, like, playing your own game, right?
Yeah.
Like
not trying to play someone else's game.
Yeah. And if you have a clear picture in your head of, of that and what that looks like for a specific tournament or course or whatever, you're probably setting yourself up for as much success as you can. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Cool. All right. Yeah. We're getting in tournament season. I mean, you're playing all this stuff, but like club tournaments are coming up, and
Yeah, we got a busy schedule coming up here.
Yeah. I'm playing Friday. Shout out to Tyler coming up from Tampa. We're playing Friday afternoon, trying to get some rounds in pre-Stampede, just building up to it. So, good time of year.
July is going to be very busy.
Yeah. Okay, we don't spend much time on this because, God damn it, we're doing this just for pride at this point. We stink. One and done. We took Brooks. Totally get it. I think he probably ended up beating Cam. Whatever.
I think he
they
did
both
by
stunk.
like maybe 2.
Brooks is T26 at the U.S. Open. It only picked us up 150K. We have slid all the way down to 2,700 in second place, just shy of $8 million. The leader is at 20.7 million.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah. Well, these big ass money events, dude. You hit 2 of them, and that's like 8 or 9 million already. You know. The money line is at 12.99, so we are a clear $5 million back in the money line. Basically, it's a win or bust here. The Travelers is the last signature event of the season. I don't know, man. I feel like we still have Xander and Colin on the board. That's our best 2 players.
I'll tell you, I mean, I know, I like how Colin's playing.
I'm in with Colin, too. It feels like he's playing good. A win is coming.
Seems like he's found a putter a little bit. Like, he's putting the ball pretty well.
He's been chipping well, too.
Yeah. I think that part of that is like he's now realizing that because he's not the longest guy, I think he's finally starting to realize like that needs to be a strength. Like he's not the longest hitter. And he is he's a top tier iron player, right? Or at least he has been in the past. I think he's been struggling a little bit this year, but I think he's really adopted of like we just said, playing, like finding a strength that you need to have. Like I feel like he's really like leaned into like, I need to be one of the better putters out here.
Yeah, I mean, especially he's probably hitting, if some of his peers are hitting 8 iron, he might be hitting 6 or 7 at times.
Yeah.
So even if you are that elite of an iron player, if you're not making the putts, you're not cashing in what advantage you're getting from that. So yeah, that makes a ton of sense. He had to bring that skill up to par with his other skills. Yeah, I'm good with Colin.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah, we'll roll with him. It's all pride. Like
he's in good form. He's an excellent player. Like, maybe we catch lightning in a bottle this week.
Yeah,
who knows?
It's a shorter course.
Fits him, yeah. Scores course, shorter course.
Yep.
He should be good.
Should be all about precision, off the tee and into the greens. So
and he grinded a little bit, but he wasn't in the grind. So maybe he's
a little more mentally fresh.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Colin at the Travelers. Let's do it. And with that, we are going to the patio. Patio Beers time.
I love my question so much. I'm going to go first.
Great, because mine's more of a. We'll get there. You go ahead.
So obviously we went to Destin last year. Saw this phenomenon. I didn't even know it was a thing. Then we go to Surfside this year. Definitely a thing everywhere you go, like beach wise.
Oh.
But everybody names their houses.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like gives them a name. So my question to you would be, is if you had a beach house, like what would you name it? So like some of the examples that we had from this trip, the house like right next to us was called Serenity, like SEA.
God.
Like the other one was like a 3-unit. It was like tic-tac-toe.
Okay.
Like just stupid stuff like that. I can't remember there was a couple other ones that were pretty good, but everybody names their house that they buy. So if you had a beach house, what would you name it?
I'm definitely a big pun guy, wordplay guy. The first thing that came to mind, I'd call it 99 Problems, because a beach ain't one.
And you made fun of Serenity? Are you fucking serious right now?
That's the first thing that popped in my head. I don't know why.
Oh my God. And it would. I wonder if people would figure that out.
Oh yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
Like if you just named it 99 Problems?
Yeah. I think people would figure it out. Dude. But a beach ain't one.
And I can't believe you scoffed at Serenity.
Well, that one's a little too obvious. You got to be a little like, there's got to be another layer to it.
So we were like thinking about it. Eventually, at some point, I don't know when this is going to happen, we're going to have a beach house. So like we got to start thinking about this now.
Yeah.
But like, it was like, my girls were like, "Oh, Barbie Dream House, we paint it pink." I'm like, "Okay, not doing that."
Buddy, you're outnumbered. I don't know. That might be happening.
But I was trying to like tie in because some of them were like, ours was called the Island House, like the one we stayed in. It's like, this isn't an island. They give an explanation for it. They are from Mackinac Island, the people that own it.
Yep.
So they call it the Island House because of where they're from. And that like kind of stirred into me. We're from Cincinnati, Queen City. And I said Queen by the Sea.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Like ties in from where you're from, ties in beach, all that. Kind of, low key, but I felt like it was like, I saw that and I was like, that would be cool. Like,
yeah.
And like apparently like guy 4 houses down named his Butler Cabin because he's from Augusta.
Yeah, okay.
So like I was like, that's kind of cool. Like tying in your city with where you're from to where you vacation at. I thought that'd be pretty cool.
No, definitely. Yeah, you've got me thinking a lot of different ways on that one now. I mean, there's Cincinnati's known for the hills. There's probably something there you could do.
Just don't name it Hill House.
No. Don't do that.
A horror movie or a horror show.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the inclines too, right? That's another thing. It's Skyline Chili, obviously. Like there's plenty of things you could, probably some tie-ins you could do with the Reds or, the sea or something, obviously.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, stuff like that. There's plenty of ways you could do that. I like that idea.
Like there was another one, like it was called the Raspberry House, and it was like, and they had like, and one of the units was called Beret.
Oh, that's great.
Dude, I was like, if you're a Prince fan, that's a really good.
Nice little Prince.
I can't remember what the other 2 units were. That was the one that stood out. I was like, Raspberry. I was like, okay, I get that. I was like, I feel that now.
Yeah.
And it was like red. Like the house was red. It was kind of crazy. But
yeah, I
don't know if I'd do anything that crazy. But yeah, I like Queen by the Sea. Just I feel like tying it in from where you're from would be a cool.
Yeah, definitely would be cool. I mean, especially if it's like a rental property or that's anything to give it character. That helps. It's like a selling point too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, I don't have any other good ones offhand.
I don't either. Yeah, that was the one I was like, okay, I would 100% like, and Queen kind of ties in like having girls and. It could go a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, there's probably tons of golf tie-ins too. Like this is a question where like I literally could endlessly think of these for days.
As soon as we're done, I'm probably going to think of at least 4 more.
Our group chat's gonna be lighting up with beach house names for the next week for sure.
I know we really need Gunt's opinion on this because he's the beach king. No, not trying to tie back into my Queen name, but he is the beach king.
Yeah. I'm officially calling on Gunt. I know he'll listen to this to send us a voice message next week with his answer to this.
100%. We need this.
I'm sure he's thought of this before.
Yeah. He's 100% thought of this before.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's funny you bring up the whole vacation house thing because that's kind of what mine's about too. I think we've loosely touched on this, and there's an obvious question and obvious answer I think for the first part, but I want to dive a little deeper than that. So, on our trip we just took, we stayed in both like rentals and hotels. Combination of things depending on the place we were going. I'm going to assume you prefer, like most people prefer a rental, Airbnb.
Yeah,
situation.
I mean, I'm not against hotels and stuff like that, but you feel a little more at home when you're in an actual house or townhome or whatever, or condo.
Sure, and these things usually they have a little more character. It's
100%.
You've got a host that kind of almost acts like your concierge a lot. You can freely ask them for things to do, things like that. So I think that was kind of the first thing. Just out of by chance that you might prefer a hotel, I wanted to ask you rental or hotel. Sounds like we're on the same page with the rental.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
But there were a couple things that just from having recently traveled that stood out to me as like what makes that option more elite, or like what makes a rental elite, I guess, is kind of the question. Like what's the thing for you that you've experienced, or if you go to a place and it's not this, takes away from it? You know what I mean?
Well, I think the first thing being, I would say what you just said, like they kind of really good host, kind of concierge for you. Like for instance, they had this book in our like townhome. It was like leave a note tell us things that you found, like that you really liked, restaurants, whatever. I found this like cool little. I found a cool coffee shop that I was going to every other morning, and then I found this like really good breakfast spot that was like to go, like pastries and bagel sandwiches and stuff like that. So I found that through that. I think that's part of it. I think it's just a little more human, feels a little more human.
Yeah.
I'm sure some are like very corporate, like some rentals can be a little corporate, but for the most part, I feel like when you're in vacation spots, like you're actually staying in someone's home. You know what I mean? Like that they use at some point in the season and stuff like that. So I would say that's the first thing that I think makes it better.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at a beach, the last thing I want to do is trounce through a hotel lobby, like sandy and shit.
Yeah.
Like I would just feel bad, for the workers having to clean up sand that I brought in there and stuff like that. If you're staying in your own home, you're a house or whatever, like you're going to be the one to kind of clean up your own mess, because I just feel bad about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that's the beach. I mean, I'm sure, if you're hiking or whatever, like you did hike, like there's other probably advantages of not trouncing through a hotel lobby at that point.
Oh, for sure.
That's kind of my take on what makes the rental a little more elite than, say, staying in a hotel.
Yeah, I think what I've realized now that I've done enough trips and stayed in enough places, like if you are staying in a place that is walkable to the things that you're doing or places you want to go, takes it to the next level. Like,
100%.
Being in like a walkable town and staying in a place that's like where the action is incredible.
You can't beat it.
No. Especially, honestly, if you're going on a beach trip, like that's the first thing that we seek out if we're planning a beach trip. Like, am I walkable to the beach?
Yeah.
Like, if you got to get in your car and go drive and find parking, God knows what these beach parkings are. Half the time, they're all like private access. You got to go try to find a public, you got to have walkability at a beach.
By the way, the whole private access beach is plaguing our country.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It's pretty shitty.
I remember so many beaches is like, you just got this gigantic public beach. And now, like, some of these places you go, and it's like, well, this 50 yards is public, and then either side, you can't cross these because that's a private beach.
Dude, they straight up rope the shit off. They put all these chairs out there. They're just empty. No one's there.
Yeah.
But they rope it off. You have like a little, like you said, you can get a little spot next to the walkway where 1,000 people are coming.
But big shout out to Surfside, like their town. I guess we want to call it a town. There's hardly any private beaches. It's all public. Everything can be walked to, or like most people have. It's a golf cart friendly town.
That works too. Yeah.
Like we just golf carted it every day to the beach, and we were only like not even a block away. Like it was a 3-minute walk, but it was nice. Like, hey, I don't want to carry this stuff. I just load it up on everywhere had golf cart parking. Like even like the public access beaches had golf cart only parking lots.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. But it is truly like, especially a beach, like you're in the thick of things. Like you want to walk to dinner, like it's not that big of a problem. You're not going to sweat your ass off walking, a mile to dinner or whatever. That is true. Like being in the thick of things.
And I think it just lets you experience, like if you're staying in a town or whatever, and there's a lot of local stuff, it's not super tour. Like it just lets you experience how someone that lives there lives, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. You're living in a house, and you're not like just living in a 10-story hotel.
Yeah.
The
other thing with rentals too is like having dedicated parking is so key. Like there's nothing. 100%. How many times have we done these trips, like bachelor party, whatever else, and it's like, oh, we have one spot in the driveway and the rest is street parking.
Your house sleeps 12. Like you don't think we all 12 of us just jammed into one car, do you?
And then all of a sudden you're like parking like, a block or whatever away. Yeah. A lot of times we're hauling golf clubs with us. Like it's a massive pain.
Yeah.
To not have dedicated parking.
I think a lot of people that buy these rentals lean too heavily on the fact that you're just going to be Ubering everywhere.
True.
And they're just like, oh, like they're not going to have that many cars. Like they're probably going to Uber places. It's like, well, we're golfing actually. So we have 3 cars and, it's like, I just don't think that's very well thought out sometimes with these rentals. But dedicated parking is a must.
Yeah, that's like right up there with the top of the amenities if you have it.
And I will tell you, that could quickly change my mind too. Like if I'm going on a golf trip or something and I can't find an Airbnb with like halfway decent parking, I would switch to a hotel just so I would have somewhere to park.
Yeah.
And I don't do well with tough parking situations.
I do think that where hotels win out is oftentimes one, you can get closer, like proximity wise, right? You're usually not, obviously you're not in a neighborhood like you are with some rental places and stuff. So proximity usually is good. Not having to like be the person that cleans up. Like, I mean, I know you're not going to wreck the hotel, but like obviously the Airbnb or the VRBO, like you got to,
they
have you start laundry. They do
there's
the dishes,
a minimal amount of stuff that you have to do, but it still is like, dude, I'm trying to pack. And I'm like, and like we left at 5 a.m. to come home. It's like, dude, I'm trying to pack my car. The last thing I want to do is put the freaking dishes up out of the dishwasher.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's a slight pain. I'm not going to lie to you.
Price is also usually a winner for hotels, obviously. You don't get the space and the amenities or whatever, but like you're not paying a $250 cleaning fee and a $300 service rental fee or whatever.
Yeah, I'll tell you this right now, like
that shit's getting crazy.
Well, I'll tell you this right now: if you can vacation in the same area, if that's how, and I would say I think a lot of people are going back to that. My parents go to Surfside a lot, so they knew this guy. They've rented from him before. They now book directly through him, and it's cheaper. Man. Find a house you like, find out who's renting it out, book it directly with them. Because I'm telling you, at the minimum, it's going to be 10% cheaper.
Yeah.
In some cases, guys are like, oh, you're willing to book in the off season? Dude, I will give you a break in the summer if you book with me in the off season. Like, find a relationship and do not let it go. I actually just knew somebody, they vacationed down in... it's not Siesta Key, but somewhere in the Gulf in Florida, and they had rented from this guy so many times over like the last 15 years. They ended up buying the house. Like he's like, I'm not going to put it on the market if you guys want to buy it because I know it'll be in good hands.
Hell yeah!
And so they ended up buying it, but like build that relationship because it's only ultimately going to make it cheaper for you.
Another thing on that front too is Google image search is your friend. If you find like an Airbnb or whatever you like, throw those pictures into the Google search.
Yep.
And you can oftentimes find like the direct listing that you're talking about. And you can go directly book with them.
Yep. 100%.
And it's cheaper. So yeah. That's something else.
But it is priced a lot of times if you're booking through one of those sites, a hotel is going to beat out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But if you're going with like a family or something, a hotel's the least ideal thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to have like 2 rooms or something weird like that, which is kind of stupid too.
Sure. All right. Look at that.
That was a good question.
We go in on the travel segment. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think we've both done our fair share of traveling. And I think we've stayed in just about everything.
Yeah.
I've stayed in some really good Airbnb, like mostly really good Airbnbs. Stayed in a few bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
Parking situations are a major part of that.
For sure.
Yeah, but I think we just travel a decent amount, so I think we're well versed.
Yeah, with and without kids, different types of trips,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, preferably love my kids to death, but I was after a 9-hour and 50-minute drive on Saturday. I was tapped out mentally.
Yeah, I'm not prepared for the long haul with kids. I know I'm not.
A lot.
I don't think I got that dog in me for that. I don't.
I on the way back, I was like, I'm like so mentally burnt out. I was like, I usually drive the whole time.
Same.
That's my thing.
Me too.
But I was like, we got to like 10 a.m. I'm like, I need like an hour just to like, I might not sleep, but I just need an hour to like sit in the passenger seat, just like mentally recharge.
I want to be the passenger princess. Damn it,
dude! Yeah. It's not a bad life, but I'll tell you, after about an hour, I was like, all right, I'm bored. Let me drive again. Like, I'm so done with this.
I'm one of those weirdos too. I enjoy it, and 2, I like being in control of the situation, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, okay. Real quick side question. We won't take too much more time on this. What's your go-to, like, if you're driving? I will tell you, I was music'd out after our trip, playing music on the beach, the new Spotify DJ. I pretty much heard everything I wanted to hear. So we went to True Crime Podcast.
Oh, God.
Fantastic. But then we went to a book, like an audio book.
Okay.
I'm not a big reader, well noted. not a bad way to travel. It keeps you engaged, kind of thinking about what's going on in the book. We listened to a book that was an offshoot of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, like post, if you've ever read that book.
I have not.
It's about the Holocaust. Well,
Okay.
this was like post what had happened.
Gotcha.
Pretty interesting. Kept me engaged in driving.
Mm-hmm.
We finished the entire book on the drive back. Actually, and then we started a second one.
Are the kids like sleeping during this? Or like
No,
what?
they had headphones on and stuff.
They're all doing tablets and whatever. Yeah. Okay.
But like, what's the go-to? Like, because now that might be my go-to is like getting a good audiobook and listening to that. If I don't have any podcasts to catch up on.
Yeah, I would say one, it's podcast for me. If I'm solo, it's podcast. I'll just hammer through 10 hours of podcast.
Yeah.
With Susie, we usually do music and we'll just kind of mix and match whatever. I'm with you. The music after a while does get kind of just like there's only so many songs you can really hear, like realistically, when you're on a long trip.
Yeah.
I'm not anti audiobook, but I'm pro book.
Okay.
So I still have yet to dive into an actual audiobook.
I found it interesting because they did different voices for each character.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't like some lady just reading like,
Yeah.
and James said this. It was like James would like pop in as a voice.
Yeah, like voice actors or whatever in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
I get it. I don't know. I'm like a purist when it comes to books. I even struggle to like honestly, like I know like reading on my phone or like the Kindle or whatever, like does make it more convenient, but I just can't like I need the book in my hand.
Yeah. I mean I don't, but
Yeah,
because
so
I'm not a big good book guy.
I don't know. I'm just I don't know. I'm a purist that way, I guess. I don't know.
Give me all the audiobooks.
Yeah. Maybe one day. We'll see. Oh man.
All right.
Felt good to be back.
Yeah, did. We had to do this one in person too.
Great weekend of golf. Lots more weekends of golf coming up. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to end this one.
Yeah. Well,
I guess see you next time. Yeah, I know. Glad to be back. Glad that you're off the hot seat. I'm back on for you.
Thank God.
All right, everybody. Cheers.
See ya. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.